The day I learned that clothes don't make the girl. As I read about the changes folks are starting to make because of a weak economy these days, it reminds me of a time when my mother used hard times to teach me a great lesson. When I was growing up in Denver, we weren't poor, but we weren't rich either. And I imagine that because my parents were self-employed, our income fluctuated a lot more than they ever let on. If times were tough, my folks just got tougher and stronger. And one year it was my turn to learn how to do that. I'd been invited by the most popular girl at school to a Christmas party at her house. She lived in a big house on the country club side of town. Some of my friends were going, and it was a big deal to be invited. Well, I began pouring through teen magazines to get an idea for a dress to wear. I always got a new dress for Christmas, and it never occurred to me that I wouldn't have a new dress that year, too. I look back now and imagine my mother watching me sadly from the kitchen door as I turned to those pages, imagining myself the belle of the ball. Well, the weekend before the party, my mother asked me to come into the kitchen. On the table lay a brown, tea-length taffeta dress. It was plaid with puffy velvet sleeves. I'd never seen anything like it. And compared to the colorful, shiny, bold mini dresses of the 60s, this looked old-fashioned and plain and definitely uncool. My heart was in my throat. She can't possibly think I'm going to wear that. Well, my mother said simply that a new Christmas dress was going to be a tall order this year, and she wanted me to think about wearing this. It was old, but it had once cost a great deal of money, and it was still better made and better designed than anything we could afford to buy new. I know it's not like anything anyone else will be wearing, she said, but that's the point. And then she began to talk about never comparing yourself to others and about the importance of finding your own style. She described the power of walking into a room with a light in your eyes and such a confident glow on your face that the dress you're wearing is only the picture frame and not the picture. Now, you could look at this as just an old dress and walk into that party miserable, and then they'll treat you miserably, she said. Or you can walk in wearing a smile and a classic vintage dress and let them know you're not interested in being just like everyone else. Well, I won't lie, I wanted a new dress, but I sighed and I tried on the vintage dress. And I had to admit there was something special about it. It fit better and felt better than anything I'd ever worn. And if the way it looked and fit didn't convince me, then the proud look on my mother's face did. I think the clincher was when she said, "I bet Jackie Kennedy wore a dress just like that when she was 13. So I wore it. I walked into that party full of girls wearing the newest looks and the coolest styles and realized that I was only the one girl there who really looked different. And of course at 13, different is about the last thing you want to be. But then the hostess, the most popular girl in junior high, walked up to me. She looked me up and down and said, "Where'd you get that?" And I looked at her and spoke the words my mother gave me. "Well, it's from Chicago. It's an antique. It doesn't get out much, but my mother let me wear it just for tonight." She looked me up and down again and said, "Cool." Let's face it, who doesn't want a better economy and more money and a new Christmas dress every year? But looking back, there's only one Christmas dress in my life that I remember. Only one dress that made me stronger. It's the hand-me-down vintage classic that my mother let me wear the year that times were tough. See you soon.